That night when Ryan went to bed, he wasn't really taking any stories or any things he's heard that day is really seriously, but still he found it a bit creepy that it seemed like every time he talked to somebody that day, all they did was give him some story about the house was terrible and spiders and all this crazy stuff. We decided, man, good night's rest and all this will be out of the way, out of my mind. I can start on renovations tomorrow. Not too long here, I'll make a decent profit off of this place. That night, Randy went to bed, had some good sleep, started thinking of all the great things he could do to the house to make a good, nice profit off of it. Next morning he woke up and even kind of laughed a little bit. Yeah, those crazy stories those people said. And of course, everywhere you go, though, there's always going to be some kind of rumors and theories and who knows. So, of course, after a night like that, it just confirmed what Randy believed, that they were just stories. Nothing you need to be worried about. So he got up and started his renovations. Of course, he made sure to the house, looked around the house, make sure everything looked nice. So the house was, of course, like he thought before, a bit dated, not much progress done to it, but still, things could be done to it. No big deal. There was no major damage to the house. He thought he could make, as he went further and further the house, he thought what a good profit he could make off of this. So, of course, he went to town, got his supplies. It was odd, though. Of course, the man at the checkout stand could tell he was doing some fixing in the house. The man at the checkout stand kind of asked him exactly what house was he doing. Randy explained the address and explained the situation. But the weirdest thing happened. As soon as he mentioned what house it was, the man, that clerk, looked really shocked. Almost as if he was thinking, what in the world? Why that house? What are you thinking? No, not that house. Not only that, but then he started taking a couple steps back for a moment. And even the people behind him in line looked like they were about ready to run from him, as if he was some kind of cursed person or something. Randy looked a bit confused to everybody and kind of rolled his eyes a little bit. Kind of laughed a little bit and looked around at the people behind him and the clerk and says, "Oh, don't worry, I've heard about all those crazy stories. I'm not worried one bit, though." Kind of laughed again a little bit. Besides, I'm only here to do renovations on the house. I'm not actually going to live in that house anyways. Still, everybody behind him in line, and even the clerk was a bit quiet for a moment or two. The clerk kind of just hurried him. In fact, the clerk then seemed to just kind of hurry him out the door, like get him checked out as fast as he could, like he did not want him to be in the store anymore at all. Randy thought it was kind of odd. Maybe took it out as bad customer service. He then, of course, just went on his day. The weird thing happened when Randy went back to the house. He started his renovations, you know. And Randy thought it was a bit strange because had just checked over the house Of course, like the night before, after a long day, he went, got some dinner, got some food for himself, and went to bed. But that night was a bit stranger than the night before. Barney kind of started hearing some noises outside, like something was crawling around out there. Barney thought this was really confusing at first. But then he thought, Mom, you're kind of this town. Maybe there's just some birds or something you're hearing out, some squirrels, small little animals crawling on the thing. You may felt a bit surprised that some kind of nice community like this would even have animals crawling around it like this, but again, no big deal. Just let it go. He just went back to sleep. Next morning, though, when he woke up, it's kind of odd. He started to see spiders not only where he'd seen them the day before, but he realized some of them were now in his room. No big deal. Of course, as usual, he just brushed it off. Some spiders that were there in the house before, they probably just were crawling around the house and eventually made to his room. But then he noticed, too, that the spiders he'd seen the day before were still there in those areas. He kind of stood there, a little confused, shocked, maybe even slightly kind of creeped out a little bit for a moment there. Then he just, after a moment, he just shook his head. Get a hold of yourself, Randy. You can't let stories like this ruin a good profit for you.